Hi guys, right, I've done the first section. You won't see it come together particularly well until it's all done. And this section is 12 centimetres by 6.5 centimetres. As I said, the drawings are 30 by 40. But this section itself took that 2 hours 43 minutes. So you could work it out on averages, but honestly some days I'm quicker than others, so it just depends really. So yeah, so the next section I'll be doing is roughly splitting this size the same like at the bottom, but I'll separate this into two. And as I said, at the moment I'll get some videoing done at some point of me doing some more colours and more drills, but for the moment we'll have to make do amend because I just haven't got anything that's working for me quite right yet. Right, to see you in a minute when I've done some more. Right, so as I said before, that's that one. And I'm doing this amount. It's a smaller bit at the end, but it's not that much difference. I think I've been fairly even. Okay guys. Right guys, after a bit of confusion, we can now tell you this first section here, okay, added up with all of it, because we forgot to add on time that was already recorded onto the computer from my phone, actually came to 5 hours 13 minutes time spent to do, which was a 12 centimetre by 6.5 centimetre area. So you don't need to buy a lot of these by any means, because they do last quite a bit of time. But the problem I have is that I'll do between an hour and a half, two at the push in one go, and then I run out of steam and have to sleep for hours. But no, so this second section here, which we did, and again if you go from the line of here down, it took, check my little bookie, 4 hours 18 minutes. So it didn't take quite as long. I need a measuring tape, so hang on a sec. Right, so I've just checked and it's a little bit smaller than this area. It's actually from here, it's roughly 10.5 centimetres by 6.5 centimetres again. And as I said earlier, this portion here is, I think, 12 centimetres by 6.5. So there's a small difference, and you got a small difference of time as well. Plus, obviously I was pretty chilled out, to be honest. Biggest problem I have is that it's quite strange having to time things. I mean, it's remembering different breaks and that. So this is only a roughness basically. It's like if I stop to have a snack or a drink or something like that, it's all time that adds up. I mean, I'm not pushing a stopwatch down sort of thing, but what I usually do is work out whether I did do anything of substance, and then basically, or go for a wee or what have you, and I deduct what my average time is on that sort of thing. But yeah, so we're getting there. It's a slow process. So again, we've got a slightly smaller portion here to do next. I shall unravel it and show you. So that's our next segment, and I'm hoping after I've done this segment I'll have it sorted so the camera can watch as and when, and it can do a little speedy version of me doing the drills. I have remembered that we have actually got a spare phone, so I'm hoping that I can use that for the use of magnifying and close-up work, because obviously some of it isn't quite as obvious as others. It's like there's dark blue do blobbies there, a double use, believe it or not. But yeah, it's trial and error with bits like this. To be honest, this isn't the worst I've had. You can get some that are quite blurry, but I mean, as a rule, this actually isn't that bad, to be fair. It's just that my eyesight has been struggling, and we all know about that, guys. Anyway, crack on to the next section. Bye. Right, guys, so there's that section done now. Obviously, if you get further away, it gets more detailed, as in all of them. That's the section we're on to next. There were a couple of things I wanted to say to you about. Now, what I will do is stop this, because you've seen the bits, and turn it round so you can see me while I'm talking to you in a minute. But first of all, before I do that, actually, I'm going to show you this. Now, this is a light board. I can't show you it on because we can't currently find what we did with the wire for it. Right, I don't know whether you can see. Ah, there we go. Yeah, so basically I've got it round this. Anything really boardy will do, to be fair. Right, now then, I'll turn you round and then talk about it. Oh no, one more thing to show you, sorry. Right, roller. I got this from AliExpress, and it just does nice smooth areas, and it's worth it because, to be perfectly honest with you, if some of the drills aren't down properly, this is what, and it's got a satisfying mouse squeak, but this is what you can have. Now then, as I've shown you before, I believe with the rolling pin I showed you before, the other rolling pin was a normal rolling pin, and you know, it's a lot cheap. Well, it's cheaper because it's a basic wooden rolling pin. That costs about £3 something, I think, so it's not really expensive, and once you've got it, you've got it. It's really handy for different craft projects and so on. Right, I'm going to stop this and turn you around in 3, 2, 1. Right, guys, so at least you can sort of see me now anyway while I'm talking to you. Now then, with the diamond painting, what I'd suggest is, if you're starting out, start off on round drills. Now, you'd have noticed that when I started the video, when I was recording, or when Darren had me recording it, sort of thing, where I was placing the drills, I had this that I was using. You can't actually see it sparkly, but it is. Now, they put them on there, but they're wibbly wobbly, so you end up having to use tweezers to straighten them up. Now, if I'm having to use the tweezers to straighten them up, might as well use tweezers, you know. So I'd recommend tweezers for drills, and either the wax pencils or the wax pens you get in the pack with the little doohickey, tiny little, you know, red thing, wax, that's it. So I'd recommend that for round, but not for square, as I've just stated why. Obviously, there's going to be some people out there that are like, use them for everything. Personally, I just think it's easier doing it that way around. As I've said, if you're going to give it a try, for, you know, start on round drills, basically. See how you go with it as well. I mean, don't get something too massive, and I'll try and find some examples of good startup ones. Now, length of time. When I was at full capacity, and you will notice I am wearing a wrist support now, which is because I'm building up all the muscles in my wrist again, because I was doing a colossal amount of diamond painting, and then I just stopped because I was getting really ridiculous hot flushes and I couldn't bear anything to be near me, and a lot of my projects are a lot bigger. But yeah, I mean, but you can get anything from like Disney type ones. You can get I've got a fabulous supernatural one I'm waiting to do. I've got an Egyptian cat one I'm waiting to do. I say it's Catwoman, really. I mean, it's stunning, and it's the largest one I've got, and it's also the only one I've got, I think, from Evermerge, which are like the bee's knees for diamond painting. You can get diamond paintings over here, but they are a lot more expensive. So, you know, it just weighs up, really. I mean, if you're not going to be doing that many and you want a largish project, after you've tried a couple of small bits to see whether you get along with it, it's always worth checking size with somebody that knows roughly about diamond painting. Not saying me, you know, you're more than capable of you know, joining groups and whatnot. I can give you my honest opinion, and I'm quite happy to do so. A couple of other things that you'll need ideally is some clips. Now, if I take this bad boy, I've got quite a large clip here, and I've got a few of them because I've got them in multi-packs, but they're really good because they hold back the page doohickeys out of the way. And I've also got what I call my biscuit clips. Now, these are nice and soft, but they don't hold terribly well, but they're really good at just holding paper back in place. So basically I can see the whole picture without cutting it all off. Now then, so that's clips, your rolling pin. I will warn you about the light pad that I showed you. It does get very warm for you. Not, you know, but it is. I mean, it's fantastic for any difficult to see bits. To be honest, I'd recommend it to anyone that has got not so great eyesight. And you can also get, if you don't fancy that, the light board, there's also like, you can get magnifying glasses with lights around the rim that show up everything really well. That was no good for me because I wanted to be able to record it, so that's why, you know. The other thing that is really handy is clear nail varnish. Now, every now and again you'll get a patch, and it doesn't happen on even 1 in 5, but it's just handy to have, because if you've got a bit on it that's either not quite as sticky as it should be, or it's missed the sticky bit altogether, it's never really a huge amount, but I tend to use my friend clear nail varnish. I have it anyway, and what I tend to do is once you get the bit where it's a bit discoloured because you're using it on top of different other nail varnishes, I usually put that into a little doohickey, or you know, keep it in the bottle thing that it comes in, and then I'll just use that for that, because it's there, it's more or less clear, you can't see underneath anyway because of the drills, but I wouldn't use a normal nail varnish to stick it down. Just don't think that would be a good idea, because you could end up, if you go over a little bit on the clear, it doesn't matter because you can still see through it. Whereas if you go over it in a coloured nail varnish, you can't actually see the codes or where the lines start or stop, and you can guarantee the minute you go to use something like that, thinking, oh, I remember, the phone will go, or something, or somebody will be at the door or something like that. So by the time you got back, you've got absolutely no clue whatsoever what you were doing. Whereas with the clear one, you can just add a bit more clear. What I tend to do, and I think you saw me getting the bits out and putting them in these little bags. Now, sometimes they send you some, but you might only get like 5 bags. Some people use the little weekly pill pot things to put different colours in and bits like that. To be honest, you can spend as much or as little as you want on these sort of bits, because at the end of the day, you know, it depends how much you throw yourself in. I tend to throw myself into hobbies quite a lot, so I try and get everything I need for them. I'm obsessive. But yeah, I mean, I will now carry on and do the next sector. You may actually find that the next sector starts recording part the way through it. It purely depends on when I get the stand through. And I'll also talk to you a little bit about that. Even if you don't do vlogging and things like that, having some sort of stand that's suitable for you with a ring light on, it's a small aerial thing that you can basically have pretty much anywhere, depending on, you know, there's all different types is what I mean. As always, people, read reviews and see where you go from there, really. Anyway, I'm going to crack on. See you soon. Right guys, so this should hopefully be the last one like this I'm doing. So I did this section here and it took 8 hours 16 minutes. I wasn't feeling particularly great, so it took me a lot longer. This is the next section that I'll be doing, and there'll be an overhead camera, and I can still use this doohickey I'm on right now showing you things. Basically what I've been using it for, which is a magnifying glass and a stronger light, if you see what I mean, because it directs straight onto it. The reason we've had to do it like this is purely and simply because I didn't think about the spare camera one we had. So yeah, so this section you'll be able to see in, if not real time, speeded up real time. So yeah, I'm curious to see how long this one takes. As I say, you've got this, what we've done so far. I'll do a massive add up at the end, because I'll be keeping sections for my own information, obviously, and then just adding up the time as I go along from now on, basically. Because obviously you're going to be watching it and there's no point in pausing every X amount of minutes. So guys, hopefully this way you'll be seeing next is the way we'll be doing, and it'll work. So bye. Right, guys. So far, we're how long in now, Darren?
33 hours, 53 minutes.
Right, so that's done just over half. I mean, again, this is a 30 by 40. The picture, because the tag bits obviously come up a bit higher, but the picture actually comes to here. So, yeah, we're quite a way in now, and so over halfway. You might have noticed, possibly depending on when the picture trained on, but there was a little pink dot in the section of this triangular section here, which I took out and put in a more neutral colour to that, because it didn't actually seem to have any purpose. You get that sometimes. If you get, normally I'd wait until later on, but you can see at a distance that's perfectly fine, whereas if you had a pink bit in there it wouldn't make any sense. So, you know, I've rolled this down again, and I have learnt one thing, not to have this out when Victor is out, because yeah, he thinks it's an all-you-can-eat drill buffet, and by drill I mean the tiny little squares.
He's alright, but we don't want him to hurt himself.
I don't want him to hurt himself, and he is obsessive over these drills. So you get that with some animals. I mean, for some reason he just really loves them. I've never had any hamsters pay any attention to these before. In fact, I've had hamsters that like to stand on it and walk across it, and they'll walk across the same point, not to do anything other than they like the feel of it on their little tootsies. But with Victor, it was sort of like, yeah, he sees it and it's pretty much one track mind. But no, as I said, we're 33 hours in, so that gives you an indication actually. But for something around this sort of size over here, for a full drill, I don't know whether you can get square drills over here or not, actually. I'm presuming you can now. It's actually quite expensive, but then saying that, I'm 33 hours in and I've still got nearly half left to do. So, you know, value for money is there anyway. With the British ones, obviously you have got more come back in some ways, but then AliExpress is really good, and I'd like to stress that. Right, so I just wanted to show you what point we were on properly, because obviously you're only seeing flashing bits now. With it looks like a single run, because I really do not drill that fast. You know, I don't diamond paint as fast as you can see. But no, if any of you again need any questions answered and bits like that, obviously you won't be doing that until this is over, and I'll probably say it again in another talky bit. But I think what I'll do, guys, is I will get to the point of finishing this, then I'll get down to record it as I roll her over, so you can see what sort of thing that entails, and doing the final checks, giving you a final time, and then at some point he will put it on. Anyway, guys, I hope you're enjoying this. Watching me do this. If anything, it should be quite restful, and in actual fact, animals quite like watching it being done. Cats are a nightmare because they usually like to attack the drills, and if they want attention, you know about it. But TV wise, should be a good one for them to watch, especially with the bunny ears out now. Anyway, see you on the other side. Right, well, ham fam. Dud, dud. Floppy. Dud, dud.
Floppy power. No.
Dud. As I said, this is a 30 by 40 square drill. And actually, I am really pleased with how the stained glass window ones turn out. If you want the intricate, tiny details, you have to go larger. Basically, the bigger you do it, the more detail you get. You could do it smaller, this one, than 30 by 40, but I honestly wouldn't recommend that. I would say that is about your standard size with what you would want. It's taken me, how long has it taken me?
60 hours, 59 minutes.
Yeah.
61 hours.
61 hours. It's good value for money. I mean, it works out about 10p an hour. Because I paid about £6. May be less than that. It wouldn't be more than that. So, you know, as they go, this is why I like AliExpress so much, because you'll notice that you get so much more for your money. The downside of it, of course, is that they can take quite a substantial amount of time to get here, talking months. But then again, I've had some in less than 2 weeks. I think 10 days is the quickest one I've ever had. So it does vary. But no, so all in all, no, really love that. And I will be discussing sealing and things like that at a later date. But I may very well seal this, because as I say, I really like this. So, you know, and it's pretty, it's got lots of colours to it. That's something you'll find actually. I purposely look for ones that have got lots and lots of colour to them, because it can be quite boring if you're on one colour all the time. If there's a lot of bordering in black, that can get quite tedious as well, but it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? It's what you want as your picture. But as I say, any advice needed, any shops that you'd like to know about on AliExpress that I use and recommend, please get in touch. I'm always happy to answer questions. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly have enjoyed making it. I mean, 60 odd hours, you know, it's not bad, is it? But then on the swing of it, if you get something like that, this from over here in England, you could be looking between £20 and £30. In some cases, they're a lot higher than that. Again, it takes 60 odd hours. It's not actually bad for the money still, but I'd rather be paying 10p an hour, if you know what I mean. Different people would be different quicknesses. If this was in round, then it would have been quicker to do, so that's worth bearing in mind as well. No, so I'm going to leave it there and say see you soon. Be safe, be different. Bye.